History remembers the Vikings as fearless warriors. It remembers their ships, their gods, their conquests. What history does not remember is what happened after the swords were lowered, what followed the raids, what was done in silence, what was never written down because it was too shameful to preserve. This is not a story of battle. This is a story of what victory allowed men to do and what civilization chose to forget. Now listen carefully, because once you hear this, you will never see the Viking Age the same way again. The air is thick enough to choke you. Rotting fish, stagnant seawater, human waste, fear. You are lying on your side, iron biting into your wrists, the floor slick beneath your skin as the hull groans around you. The ship does not sail, it lurches, like a wounded animal forcing itself north. Somewhere nearby, other women breathe in shallow, broken rhythms. Some whisper prayers, some do not speak at all. Sight has been taken from you. Darkness presses in from every direction. What remains is anticipation, the kind that tightens the chest until it feels easier not to breathe. Less than a week ago, you knelt in silence beneath stone arches darkened by centuries of incense. You were 15 years old, a novice, a virgin consecrated to God. The monastery had been your entire world: prayer, fasting, obedience. You believed holiness offered protection. You understand now how fragile that belief was. They came with the morning fog. Men emerged from the mist like figures pulled from a nightmare, helmets glinting, axes already raised. There was no warning, no negotiation. Steel met flesh before words could form. Monks who had spent their lives copying scripture collapsed where they stood. Blood soaked the altar stones. Sacred objects vanished into sacks. Manuscripts burned, their wisdom erased in moments. For you, death did not come. You were seized, dragged, stripped before the eyes of strangers. Hands inspected your body with clinical indifference. Your youth was noted, your health assessed, and in that moment you were assigned a different fate. In the lands beyond the sea, there was a name for women like you, Christian captives, preferably nuns, preferably untouched, to the raiders. There was no greater insult to the Christian God than to claim his vowed virgins and turn them into living proof of his impotence. The ship surges forward again. 3 weeks of travel remain. 3 weeks suspended between who you were and what you were being remade into. The church would later attempt to erase what happened next. Chroniclers would mention the raid, the theft, the slaughter, but the women would disappear from the record. Silence would replace testimony. The island you came from, Lindisfarne, had been considered sacred ground. For over a century, monks and nuns had labored there, preserving relics, copying texts, praying for a violent world to soften. Rumors of northern raiders had reached the coast, but faith bred confidence. Holy ground was thought untouchable. It was not. 30 ships cut through the fog that morning. By the time the bells rang, the beach was already lost. The attackers moved with precision. They knew where the treasury lay, where the dormitories stood, where resistance would crumble fastest. By midday, every monk was dead. The nuns were not. Selection followed. Age, teeth, skin, strength. One older woman, too fragile to survive transport, was killed immediately. The others were divided, the youngest set aside, the rest categorized for labor. Among the chosen was a girl named Hilda, 15 years old. She did not yet understand what blood marriage meant. The voyage north was deliberate cruelty. Food was scarce, cleanliness non-existent, chains prevented movement. Warriors visited not to assault but to dismantle. Hair was cut away, prayers were mocked, false blasphemies replaced hymns, identity was peeled back layer by layer. This was not random abuse, it was psychological engineering. By the time land appeared, resistance had already collapsed. In Norway, the captives were processed. They were washed not out of mercy, but because property was expected to be functional. Older women examined them carefully. Fertility, health, durability. Each body classified with unsettling precision. The youngest were prepared for ritual. What followed was not passion, it was ceremony. A public declaration of ownership conducted before gods and witnesses. Blood was spilled. Vows were severed. A girl raised as Christ's bride was bound permanently to a man who saw her faith as something to be destroyed. Afterward, life followed pattern. She lived in his household, worked his land, bore his children, obeyed without recourse. Literacy made her useful. Motherhood made her valuable, and was constant. Some women resisted in silence, others broke, many died. Records are scarce, fragments survive, mentions in sagas, bones beneath Scandinavian soil, graves holding crosses and hammers together. One burial, uncovered centuries later, told the quiet story. A woman born in the British Isles, battered, repeatedly pregnant, laid to rest with symbols of two faiths pressed against her chest. Her name is unknown. Like the others, she was forgotten deliberately. The church did not record their suffering. Viking stories reduced them to footnotes, yet their descendants carried their blood. Their whispered prayers shaped generations. In trying to humiliate Christianity, the raiders unknowingly planted it. By the time the old gods fell, it was women like these broken, enslaved, silenced, who had carried the new faith into the heart of the North. Their bodies paid the price, their names were erased, their stories were buried, and remembering them now is not comfort, it is obligation.